the Evangelical Baptist Church in Central Africa, which is our partner church from Sweden here now, is the only denomination, Protestant denomination, at least evangelical denomination in Central African Republic, accepting women pastors. It started as accepting women elders in local churches. Mm-hmm. And that started with a decision by one African pastor in his local church. Mm-hmm. And then it went on.
Welcome to the Eden Podcast, where we true the verse of Genesis 3:16, and we discover that God didn't curse Eve or Adam or limit woman in any way.
Of course, they had a wonderful women's ministry. There were, women's mm-hmm. organizations, great meetings, conferences.
Yes.
And yet these ladies needed training.
Yes. But it was separated from the men's world in a sense. Mm. And of course, women's associations did a good job in the local churches. But on the denominational level, it took some time before they accepted to have one woman in the church, in the denominational board, representing the women, and the rest were men representing themselves individually. Mm-hmm. So it started like that, and it was a great woman. She was later with her husband working at Best in Bangui, Anna Betale.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she was the first woman who was elected to the church board. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So she was really someone who pushed for the woman's right to be fully involved in local church, in denominational work, and even in ministry. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as I came from a background in Sweden where this was no real problem, I also pushed for this. And finally, we had the first women applicant to the school in Carno. And it started like that. So, yeah, as you said when you introduced this program, the Evangelical Baptist Church in Central Africa, which is our partner church from Sweden here now, is the only denomination, Protestant denomination, at least evangelical denomination in Central African Republic, accepting women pastors. It started as accepting women elders in local churches. Mm-hmm. And that started with a decision by one African pastor in his local church. Mm-hmm. And then it went on. So after that, maybe I answer a later question now, but that went on to accepting 2 women applicants for the evangelist Bible schools, preparing evangelists, kind of assistant to pastors. And then also women applicants were accepted to the pastoral training in Carno. So there are now a certain number of women pastors. Not enough, according to the church president. He wants to see many more, but still, they are there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm. So our third question we usually ask people is this: what's your true 316 story?
Yes, the denomination to which my parents belonged was a Baptist church in a kind of holiness tradition. And from the 19th century, this denomination has been open to, as it was put at that time, the right of women to preach. And the Baptist pastor, Swedish American, coming back to Sweden to work in a local Baptist church, he developed a mission organization which became later a denomination, breaking with the Baptist Union. He was keen on this from the beginning, and he came back to Sweden with influences from the holiness movement in United States, and there was also influences from Great Britain. So in the 1880s, there were some even famous women preachers, and one of those who welcomed this or who pushed for this was the Swedish American Fredrik Fransson, when he was visiting Sweden several times. And in the churches, the denominations that were touched by this holiness revivalistic movement, it was accepted that women could preach, and that they were allowed to preach. This was controversial at that time. In the Baptist Union, it took some decades before they changed their point of view in this area. So John Ångman, who was this Swedish American pastor coming back to work in a local Baptist church, and who was the founder of this Örebro mission, he was arguing for this at the Baptist Union conferences, but it took some time before there were even one voice who supported him. But later, it changed.
Let me just drop in a second. We're talking with Dr. Göran Janzon. He was the president for a number of years of the Örebro Theological Seminary. Joy and I met Göran and Irma as we were both couples were involved in teaching in the Central African Republic, and we were able to. You welcomed us into your home for a whole week there in Sweden recently. We had a wonderful time seeing all the great vegetables in the garden and the flowers, and we were there over the high holy day holiday of Sweden, which was midsummer, the longest day of the year. And the kids, different people put garlands of flowers in their hair and celebrated, and did the duck dance and a whole bunch of other things along that line. I wondered if you could tell us a little bit about the conference. So we were there with our grandchildren, our son, and you said, "Hey, I want you to go down and see what's happening at this conference." So there were, over a period of a week, a farm has been transformed into a conference center, and there was a huge tent for the teenagers, and there was for the children, and there was a dining hall, and there was seating in the evening for 3,000 people, worshiping and singing and praying and preaching. You've been heavily involved in that. The name of it that we called it was Torp, T-O-R-P. Could you tell us a little bit? And I'm interested in, we'll just follow up on this Baptist encouragement from Fredrik Fransson, women leadership. So one of the key leaders when we first got there, it was simultaneously translated for us from Swedish into English, was a woman, and she was a professor from your seminary, I believe. Could you tell us, summarize a bit what's happening over there at Torp and your involvement in that?
Yeah, we can start from the beginning, because the Torp conference was started by a group of people who were touched by this holiness movement, and the man who started the series of conferences in 1887 he opened up his own barn. Is that the right term?
Sure. Yeah.
For meetings in the midsummer week, and this conference has been organized since then until now every year, except for one of the pandemic years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was started in this atmosphere of the holiness movement, accepting, like Frederick Franson and others, women preaching. So one of the preachers from the very start of this conference was Nelly Hall, and she was already famous, and she became even more famous through the conference. But she was going around. She was trained as a teacher, and then she got into contact with this holiness movement in Great Britain, and she came back and went on preaching tours. And churches who opened for her as a woman, they were filled. There were hundreds and thousands of people coming and listening to her.
Wow.
And with that start, it has been all over the years, women who have preached, women who have contributed with mission talks or whatever. So it has been in the tradition to accept women in ministry. But of course, the cultural context made it as a kind of exception. Most of the preachers were men, but there were some women. Mm-hmm. But in the later decades, from 1960 and on, this has changed gradually. So now there are maybe as many women as men preaching, and in the afternoons there are also a big number of seminars, and there women and men are, according to their skills, to their experiences, and so on, they are teaching in these seminars. So
I love the fact that up in the Great Hall there, they had flag after flag after flag after flag from various countries around the world. So yeah. Is there a good missions emphasis there? Is that what I was seeing?
Yes, and yes, this conference started in 1880s, and out of the conference was formed also the Holiness Union as a kind of mission society, becoming a denomination.
Wow.
And this was very mission oriented. And Örebro mission within the Baptist movement was also very mission oriented. Uh-huh. And these two, together with a third smaller Baptist movement, merged in 1997 into what is now the Swedish Evangelical Free Church, if we translate the Swedish name. And this is very mission-oriented denomination.
Wonderful.
So there are partner churches in all continents, having grown up from mission work out of this denominations forming the Swedish Evangelical Church since 1997. So they are missional. They are very mission-oriented. The problem we have with this now, if I can just comment upon that, is that from a tradition of sending Swedes as missionaries out there, and mission work meant Swedish persons going out there, we have now a challenge to see mission in larger in a larger way, that mission is partnering with the partner churches that have grown out of the Swedish mission work.
Yes.
And they have their own leadership, and they are growing more than the mother church in Sweden. And now we have to understand that we have to enter into a new pattern of partnership. We have to have a kind of family relationships, and we can form teams together in new outreaches to other people groups, and so on. So, but the mission orientation is there still, yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, we've been talking with Göran Janzon from Sweden, and I'm in here in the United States, and we share a common interest in so many things, and we thank the Lord so much for your ministry, Göran. Please give our greetings to Irma. Joy says hello, and we'll keep in touch. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
True 316 Foundation is the home of the Eden podcast. Join us for $3.16 a month or more. Let's true the verses on the key passages on women and men. Go to true316.com/partner. True 316 is strengthening and encouraging many, and we're getting stories every day of lives changed through our ministry. We're the home of the Eden podcast, and we're getting the word out that God didn't curse Eve or Adam or limit woman in any way. Our volunteer help is wonderful, and we grow stronger with each new true partner who gives to the True 316 Foundation so that we can cover the costs to do the technical work of the Eden podcast, to coordinate our True School workshops like the 2-week Eden workshop on Genesis 2 and 3, and to make the True 316 Foundation function in its outreach to scholars and students around the world. You can give now with a one-time gift. And better still, you can join now and become a monthly donor. We call our monthly donors our true partners. Please join now by going to true316.com/partner.